it's Haley from OneOnRabbits.com, and in today's video, I am doing the long-awaited reviewing your rabbit's habitats. So this video has been requested a lot since the last time I did it, so I thought I would do it again. And yeah, that's basically it. Let's just go ahead and get started. Let's get the laptop. Oh, my laptop's dying. One second. Alrighty. Here we go. Okay, so this is the first habitat, and she says that they have a diggy box that their dad made them, a hutch that they like to sleep in. The door is never closed on the hutch, it's just for sleeping. They've got a litter box area, the flooring is carpet, and I will leave her Instagram handle here because I don't want to mess up the name. So looking at this area, I think it's really great. Like, you're off to an amazing start. I love that they have basically an entire room. I believe you said it was your guest room. So that's really cool that they have their own space. Looks like you have some toys, a diggy box, a lot of litter box areas, nice large litter boxes, which I love, with hay in them. And it looks like you have a lot of toys scattered around, so that is really good. Honestly, you are doing an amazing job. The few suggestions I would make is in their hutch area, which you called it, it looks like there's two like cages stacked on top of each other, and you said they like to sleep in that. My suggestion would be to take the bedding out of there. I'm not sure what type of bedding it is, but hopefully it's not pine or cedar shavings, as those are toxic to bunnies. If it's aspen shavings, it is safe. But personally, I'd probably just remove the bedding out of there. It's a lot easier to clean. You can just throw it in the washer and whatever. And if your bunnies have issues chewing on fleece, maybe that's why you're using it. I'm not quite sure, but I probably would switch to fleece or like foam mats or something like that with fleece on top. That would be my one suggestion. Another suggestion would be to cover the top of their little cage thing with like a towel or a blanket and make it more of like a hideout, because that might make them, you know, enjoy it a little bit more, because rabbits do really like areas that are nice and closed in, so they feel nice and safe. Because I did notice you don't have a lot of large hidey houses for your bunnies, and I do suggest having a large hidey house that can fit both of your bunnies, that they can hide in and feel safe. So I would probably turn that area into like a giant hideout and just like cover it up so that it's nice and safe feeling. Because the other hideouts you have in here, they either just have one entrance, which isn't good for bunnies, or it's just like a tunnel, which rabbits aren't always apt to like sleep in tunnels. So I think that would be a great idea. But other than that, I think you're doing really good. Maybe the one other thing would be to get a couple more natural type toys. So either like some grass mats or maybe some willow balls or something. Just some natural toys that kind of bring out that natural instinct in them. But I think you're off to an amazing start, and I really love what you're doing here. Okay, so for this next one, we have a homemade CNC cage. Dimensions are 2 feet by 4 feet. She says once they get bigger, she is going to change it to a 3 by 4 feet enclosure. She says they have fleece and foam mats, cardboard, toys, willow balls, willow chews. So I would say you are off to a pretty good start. The major thing here that I find wrong is that if your rabbits are not spayed and neutered, they need to be separated ASAP, as soon as possible. Just because they're getting along now does not mean they will once their hormones start kicking in. So at about this age, 3 to 4 months is when they hit puberty, and that's when their hormones are going to kick in and they're going to become very aggressive, very territorial. I've fostered baby bunnies before, and I didn't separate them soon enough, and one of the rabbits, while I was sleeping, attacked the other one and chewed a hole directly through her ear. Like, literally, the ear had a hole straight through it. You just never know. Like, they literally were sleeping and cuddling the day before. When I woke up the next morning, they had fought. That is why you should never ever house rabbits who are not spayed and neutered together, even if they're still babies, because that is gonna happen. So definitely would separate them, keep them side by side. Once they are spayed and neutered, you can reintroduce them and bond them. But yeah, it is very, very dangerous, because even when you're sleeping, they could just snap and fight, and rabbits can kill each other. They can and will kill each other if they feel the need to, because of all the hormones and stuff they go during that puberty process. It's very, very, very dangerous. So definitely separate them. The other thing I want to point out is you said you were only going to make it 3 feet by 4 feet once they were bigger. Just so you know, the bare minimum for one rabbit is 2 feet by 4 feet, and that's by someone else's standards. I personally think that's too small for one rabbit. And the bare minimum for 2 bunnies is 4 feet by 4 feet. So that's twice as much as a 2 foot by 4 foot. So that is literally the bare minimum. So you wouldn't want to go any less than a 4 by 4 foot pen once they are bonded together. So I thought I would mention that. Other than that, I think you definitely need a hidey house. Rabbits need hidey houses. Without them, they can become very afraid, very timid. Even if your rabbit isn't showing that, rabbits need hidey houses because in the wild, they live in burrows underground, and if you're not providing a space for them to hide, it's just very stressful on the rabbits. So definitely add a hidey house in their pens, and maybe a couple more toys too, just to keep it, you know, more interactive, like more toys they can chew on. Overall, I think you're off to a good start, but definitely separate your bunnies. So this next habitat I really like, but definitely needs a little bit of work, and she mentioned, or he, I actually don't know who it is, but they mentioned they just weren't sure how to or what to add or anything, so I thought I would help you out. So first of all, the space is amazing. A 10 by 10 foot pen is huge. That's bigger than some people's bedrooms, so definitely a good space. The first thing I would add is flooring. So yes, laminate flooring is fine for bunnies, but not for their majority of the area. Hard flooring can be really hard on a rabbit's hocks. It can cause sore hocks in rabbits who are more sensitive. It's also just very uncomfortable on their feet, even if it's not causing sore hocks. So for the majority of the area that they're gonna be spending a lot of time in, you're gonna wanna make sure that that area is nice and soft. So the first thing I would do is probably get some puzzle mats. You can find them in the exercise department at Walmart. They're about 20 bucks for 1 pack. You might need 2 packs to fit your area depending on how much puzzle mats you want to put down. But I'd get 1 or 2 packs, and you just put them together and it'll create a nice big area in your rabbit's pen. And then you can place bed sheets over the top and either binder clip them or just tuck them underneath. And that's a really nice soft surface that they can use to run around on. Otherwise, some rabbits just, you know, they won't exercise as much or move around as much if they're just on hard floor because it's uncomfortable, because it's slippery and things like that. So that would be the first step, add the flooring. The second thing I would do is add a hidey house. So all rabbits need hidey houses, and it needs to be big enough for them to stretch out, to sit up, and to, you know, move around in comfortably. You can just go to, I don't know, just any store and buy a plain cardboard box. Make sure there's no ink on it, and if there is ink on it, you want to cut that area off because ink, your rabbit should not be ingesting the ink off of cardboard. And make sure there's no tape, glue, staples, anything like that in the cardboard box. Make sure it's big enough for your rabbit to, you know, stretch out, stand up, all that stuff, and cut 2 holes in it, and that makes an awesome hidey house. You can put, you know, something inside there if you want, or the cardboard's just fine. So that would be another tip. Another thing would be to get a lot more toys to fill this area up. Rabbits need to express natural behaviors such as chewing, digging, ripping apart, destroying. Those are all things rabbits really enjoy doing. So if you want, you can check out my online shop, 101rabbits.com. I have a lot of grass mats that would be very good for flooring or for chewing and digging. I also have lots of willow toys, which rabbits go crazy for willow, so they can chew on those, toss those, play with those. So yeah, I think if you add all of those things, you'll be off to a really great start. And then of course, throughout this video, you can pick up tips from other habitats that I'm kind of critiquing, so yeah. So this next one is a 3 by 5 foot pen. I think it's off to a really great start. Again, I just have a couple of suggestions that I think would make it better. She mentioned that she wanted to go a more natural approach, so definitely up my alley. I'm definitely trying to do that myself with my own rabbits. So I think the first thing, I really like that you have a little shelf area in there for her. I think that's super great for rabbits. Rabbits like to sit up tall on things, and my rabbits always love their shelves. So definitely, if any of you guys out there are looking for a way to spice up your rabbit's area, I definitely add an elevated shelf. My rabbits love it. The first thing I would probably add, again, I feel like I've said this 100 times, is a hidey house. So rabbits need hidey houses, like I mentioned already in this video. So a way that you could add one easily is just below the shelf area where you have it. Make sure there's 2 entrances, so maybe put an NIC grid in the middle to support the shelf, but then have the other 2 sides open, so it's like 2 entrances, and then cover that area up and make it nice and secure and closed. And then on the floor of the hidey house, you can either put like a nice soft, I always put a memory foam mat underneath my rabbit's hidey houses, and then I put a fleece on top. And if your rabbit tends to be a digger or a chewer in areas like that, I also like to put one of the grass mats that I actually sell in my shop on top. So that makes it so they're not chewing on it, or they're not like digging up the mat or the fleece. And if they do chew on the grass mat, it's not a huge deal because it's 100% edible, 100% safe. So that would probably be the main thing I would add. The other thing is I would definitely add more toys, definitely more natural toys. So again, I have stuff on my online shop, but just some suggestions. Anything willow is very, very enticing to bunnies, like willow balls, willow rings, things like that. You could also add some DIY toys like paper bag with like hay and herbs and treats inside. That's a good one. That one can be kind of messy though and get destroyed really, really fast. Just warning you. But yeah, definitely add more toys. But other than that, I think you're off to a really great start. I can't tell if you have a hay rack or not in your rabbit's pen. I'm not really seeing any hay, but I'm sure it's there, I just can't see it. But make sure your rabbit always has a lot of hay available to them. You can add a hay rack above the litter box, or just put a pile of hay in the back of the litter box. Either way works. I prefer hay racks if possible, just because it wastes less hay. But yeah, those are my suggestions, but you're off to a really great start. So this next habitat I also think is off to a really great start. I think it's a 4 by 4 foot pen from what I can see. And then there is a top on top just so that she can't jump out. I'm assuming it's a shorter X pen, like a 2 foot one, which if you have a 2 foot X pen, definitely put a top on it because rabbits can jump over 2 feet. If you didn't know, rabbits should have at least a 3 foot or 4 foot X pen if you don't want to cover it. Just pointing that out there. But she says it's a 6-month-old rabbit who is about to be spayed and eventually going to be bonded to another bunny. So that is really great. Rabbits should always be bonded with another rabbit if medically possible. And I have a whole video on that if you want to check it out. But yeah, it's super great that you're planning on bonding her to another bunny. And she said she's going to expand the area once she does that, which again is super, super great. I love that. I don't have a ton of suggestions, but the one thing is you do have a covered litter box. These tend to be very popular, and I'm not really sure why. A lot of the submissions I got had covered litter boxes, and honestly, covered litter boxes are not ideal, and they're normally sold for cats, which I don't know why, because cats should not have covered litter boxes either, for many, many reasons. The main reasons for rabbits though specifically is, one, there is only one entrance. Even if your rabbit is using your litter box regularly and is fine with it, and you feel like there's no need to get rid of it, one entrance is still a cause of concern for some rabbits because they don't have an escape route if needed. This is actually another case for cats as well. Cats also need an escape route, so a one entrance litter box isn't always ideal for cats, but there's a lot more reasons why cats shouldn't use them. The second reason I would not use a covered litter box with rabbits is it does not have enough proper ventilation. Rabbits have very, 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 very sensitive respiratory systems. They are very prone to respiratory infections. I've had my rabbits have respiratory infections even just stress can trigger a respiratory infection in rabbits. So because they're so prone to respiratory issues, you do not want something so enclosed that it's not providing proper airflow, because that is a cause for respiratory infections. Anything very enclosed, not enough circulation, not enough airflow, especially in the litter box area, because there's pee and poop and hay, everything that's a lot of scents can be very strong, especially in that small enclosed space. So it is not safe for their respiratory systems to be in an area like that, especially in the litter box. So yeah, definitely take the cover off the litter box. So this next one is a pretty big pen. Let's see if I can figure out. I think she said it's a 4 by 6 foot pen, but NIC grids are bigger than a foot, so it is a little bit bigger than 4 by 6 feet. And it looks like she's off to a really great start. Again, a lot of these people have been doing a pretty good job, which is great. The one thing I would say is that it is only 2 feet tall. It totally depends on the rabbit. Some rabbits aren't even gonna try to jump over that. But just to warn you, rabbits are able to jump over that height. So if your rabbit is very motivated, they may be able to escape. I just want to point that out there. If there's anything dangerous that your rabbit could get into, if they were to escape, you might want to add another grid around the top just to make sure that they don't escape. So that would be the first thing. The other thing is there is no hidey house in your rabbit's habitat, so you definitely need to add one of those. Like I mentioned before, you can just use a cardboard box that has no ink on it, cut 2 holes in it, and that makes an amazing hidey house. Otherwise, if you Google or go online, anywhere, you can find a bunch of ideas for really cool hidey houses. It totally depends on like your price limit and like if you're handy with power tools or like how extreme you want to go. But yeah, cardboard box works great. But yeah, that would be the first thing. The other thing is definitely add a couple more more natural toys, like maybe some grass mats, some sort of, you know, more chew toys, things like that. But otherwise, you're off to an amazing start, and you said your rabbit gets to run around that entire area when it's free roaming, so that is great. It's a huge area, so definitely an amazing start. Just a couple of changes and you'll be good. So this next one is a really cool setup, so I thought I would include it. It looks like it might be like an old walk-in closet, which is super cool. She says it's about 5 feet by 5 feet, and then it has this really cool little ramp that goes up to the shelf area. It looks very similar to the shelving that I have made in the past, so I really like that. I think that's really cool. A couple of things I guess that I would change is the hidey house you have in there does have, it's cardboard, but it does have ink on it, and that is not safe if your rabbit was to chew and eat it. So I would probably change that hidey house out to a plain cardboard box. You'd never want any sort of ink or anything on the cardboard that you use. Other than that, maybe add something else on your shelf area, like either, I don't know, I can't think of anything, but like maybe some toys or something else for your rabbit to do up there. But otherwise, I think you're off to an amazing start. I just thought that was a really cool area. And she also says that she lets him out for playtime, which is also really great. So that's basically it for today's reviewing rabbit habitat videos. I really hope this helped you guys. Even if I didn't review your specific habitat, please take the tips that I gave other people and apply them to your own rabbit's area, because honestly, a lot of the times it's the same advice that I'm giving from each habitat to each habitat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any specific questions. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on rabbits and rabbit care, and I will see you guys very soon on a new video. Bye!